Hello, and welcome back to Buzz TV, where we interview the brightest and most interesting people in the community. I'm your host, Whitney Mincy, and I'm joined by a very special guest, Taylor Hayes from Imperfect Taylor, LLC. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks so much for having me.
So you have a very interesting and exciting business, to me personally, as a professional woman. So tell me a little bit about your business and how you got started.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, in 2015, I graduated college with a bunch of student loan debt, like many of us.
Yeah.
$60,000, and a couple years later, I got really serious about paying it off. And in 2019, I started an Instagram to document my journey and connect with other people who are going through it like me.
Right.
And so I started posting content, and eventually I started to gain a following. About a year later, I paid off my student loan debt, celebrated.
Wow. A year later?
Yeah, I had like $40,000 left at the time when I created my Instagram, so I paid off that in about a year. I side hustled like crazy, did all sorts of things, had a part-time job scooping ice cream on top of my full-time job as a data analyst. Anyway, became debt-free, and I kind of decided, you know what, I think I'm kind of done talking about finance so much. I want to talk about the things that I'm really passionate about, which is personal development for women. And so, yeah, I've been blogging about personal development ever since.
And you're doing that full-time now. But I know before we started our interview here, you told me a little bit about how you got into it full-time and the transition that kind of shoved you into that. So tell us a little bit about that.
Shoved is a great way to say it. Yeah, so I, like I said, I kind of worked in tech for maybe like 10 years or so as a data analyst. And then in November, I got laid off, officially was laid off in January of this year, and kind of decided, you know what, maybe this is a sign that I should go full-time with Imperfect Taylor and publishing personal development content. And then now I help other women with their blogs, grow their blogs so they can create passive income that way. And I also help small businesses optimize their websites.
So first of all, I think a lot of people can probably relate to the situation of being laid off and suddenly you're trying to figure out what you're going to do with yourself and how to make a living and support yourself. And so for those that maybe are in that situation right now and you can help them, how do you assist those people?
Oh man, first of all, being laid off is so tough. So I really relate to anybody who's going through it or who will go through it. You know, I was lucky enough that our company actually ended up paying us our full-time salary for 2 months before officially letting us go.
That's good.
So in that time, I was in save mode, right? Like I really tried to prepare myself as much as possible. And then I was lucky enough to also get severance when I was officially laid off. But I think it's so important, you know, to just realize that oftentimes, more often than not, almost 90 or 100% of the time, being laid off is not your fault. Like it usually has to do something in the business is occurring. In my particular instance, you know, they laid off my entire team. So it's oftentimes nothing personal. You don't need to take it personally. And just believe in yourself that you will find that next step. And oftentimes the next thing is better for you. You know, you end up at a better company that treats you better with better pay. So I think just the main thing is to stay hopeful when you get laid off, even though sometimes it can be super blindsiding and scary, honestly.
Yeah. And so I know that you assist women with creating blogs and earning money with those blogs. So what is the first step for someone that's interested in going that route?
Yeah, great question. So, you know, when I hear people talk about blogging, I oftentimes see that people refer to it either as actually creating a website. So like I have imperfecttaylor.com. But people often reference, when they talk about blogs, are referencing social media. So like a TikTok or an Instagram.
Okay.
And honestly, the first step, like if you want to start a website, I would say come up with a domain name, right? Like mine's imperfecttaylor.com. Like what do you want your business eventually, if you grow it into a business, but what do you want your blog to be about? And then make your domain name about that. And then same goes for social media, choosing a handle that's relevant.
Yeah.
And then honestly, just start creating content and don't be afraid to put yourself out there, which I know is the biggest hurdle.
Yeah, I think that's probably scary for a lot of people putting themselves out there.
Yes. Honestly, every single day I have to be open and vulnerable, and it is scary. I never know how people are going to react or if they're going to think I'm weird or, whatever. But it's a risk I'm willing to take in order to, live a lifestyle where I don't necessarily have to be in a corporate 9-to-5 for the rest of my life. So
living on your own terms, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Taylor. And if you want to learn more about Imperfect Taylor and all of the amazing things that she's doing, make sure you go to iwantabuzz.com, and we'll see you next time on Buzz TV.